Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for October 4th. Yes, first weekend in October. Holidays today. It's International Frugal Fun Day. Ooh, National Golf Day, National Taco Day. It should be a Tuesday, but it's a Saturday. And World Card Making Day. Those are the holidays for today. Birthdays today. Chief Jay Strongbow. He's passed away, but today would have been his birthday. Abyss. Bobby Fulton and Linda McMahon all having birthdays today. Hey, interested in roller derby? Want to be a skater? Officiate? Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby. They're in the off season right now, but they still are practicing, as well as the men's team, Flower City Fear, FLOUR, flowercityfear.com. We're always looking for volunteers. I'm looking for skaters, everything. So come on out and join us. It's a lot of fun. We all have a good time. So some things I want to talk about today. We've got some. First of all, let me introduce myself as well as my co-hosts. I am the Cash Man. I'm your humble host. They used to call me Richie Rich. You can call me Cash Man. If we're good friends, you can call me Cash. We don't have to be good friends. If you see me in a crowd, you scream, "Hey, Cash!" and I'll turn my head, or I turn my head to pretty much anything. Hey, you dumb, I'll turn as well. So we got me. I'm joined by DC Dan Cole from NC. There you are, DC. How's it going today?
And yourself?
Good, good. It's we're in the depth of fall here. Let me also introduce Rob Sanderson here. Thank you guys for being here. Last week it was all me, and man, nobody wants that. So, but I will say one thing, it goes much quicker because it's just me. But Rob, how you doing today, sir?
Good morning. Um, I am doing. I don't know. I need some coffee.
Where was that nice fall weather when I was up there last weekend?
Good question. It was starting. What was it like? Was it warm up here when you were up here, or was
It's in
it?
the 80s.
Yeah, it's 80s this weekend too, but it was like down in the 70s most of the week, and we even got some 40s in the morning around here. So, but yeah, I was here last weekend. I went to Saratoga to see a concert, and man, if you're like a Leaf watcher, you know how they always joke about Leaf watching. That's the place to go, man, because man, you're driving through all these colorful trees. It's really pretty cool. So, and Rob, last weekend, obviously you were
I
coming up.
figured that was a Maple Leafs joke coming, but
No, I like, well,
only watch them until they blow it in the later parts of the first round of the playoffs every
there we
year.
go.
But
Yeah,
Right, you know it's spring when the Leafs are up.
there you go. When the Leafs are out,
exactly,
there you go.
exactly.
Speaking of, you had ESW last weekend. How'd that go?
Really good. It was a fun time. That was Friday night in Niagara Falls, kind of the go home show before the biggest show of the year, which is Wrestle Bash, which will be Wrestle Bash 15 coming up in November. So yeah, it was a good time. There was a tag team match between the Busta and the Brain, Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, and Miracle Generation, Dustin Waller and Kylon King. And to me, it is the ESW match of the year. It was absolutely insane, very difficult to try to keep up with on play by play. And certainly we'll share out the link to the archive once that goes up. But it was a good time. So now things are super busy because getting everything together for the next ESW show as well as the next 2CW show.
CW. I was gonna say I saw TCW's got a date now, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see where it was. I liked it. I don't remember where is it. It's not in Syracuse, is it?
It is in Watertown. And it is that is going to be quite the weekend because ESW Russell Bash 15, Friday night, November 21st at Riverworks in Buffalo. And then 2CW, older, fatter,
Balderer.
bolder.
Better,
I can't wait to say that a bunch of times.
better.
Which will be Saturday, November 22nd in Watertown. There will be probably a lot more information on that announced this weekend once I finish up the graphic. And yeah, that's in Watertown, Saturday, the 22nd of November at 6 p.m. So,
Hey,
um, Yeah, it's gonna be quite the weekend.
Yeah,
I know there's also stuff on Sunday too, like in Jersey and stuff. So, but it's gonna be. I'm not thrilled about that one being head to head with Full Gear, but is what it is.
I was
So
gonna say let's see if you can get the same people you had on the last ESW show. Now that TNA has this deal with WWE,
well, TNA is off that weekend, which, to be honest, was a really big factor in the specific date, because there's really more of a need for TNA talent than any other company. It will obviously limit the ability of having AEW people um, on the show with the pay-per-view taking place that day, but that's
sure.
okay because there are a lot of people we're trying to work in. My main objective in this is to try to work in some of the 2CW names from the past that were not a part of the reunion shows 4 years ago this week. Trying to switch things up a little bit on some of that, and obviously there'll be some repeats as well. But yeah, things are full force trying to get both these shows together in a lot of ways. So
Hey, Kevin Steen's available, right? Just say no, no, no.
I don't think he is, but
Ring announcing, maybe?
Yeah, ring announcing or doing his John
maybe.
Cena impression, or because I guess that's his Halloween costume this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you've probably seen the shots as well. All right, so that's
he's a big
cool.
fan. He's a big
That's
fan.
yeah, big time. I was gonna say, I think remember the last ESW get together, Moose was involved, and I'm wondering if Moose is gonna be prior committed with what's going on with WWE and TNA right now, because
There shouldn't be any WWE or TNA stuff that weekend, but yeah, I mean, so far for that weekend, for ESW on the Friday, Teddy Long was announced as being there. So
you're gonna make a
uh,
tag team match.
card subject to change. Probably I probably should bump up the font size on that
Yeah,
on the graphics, and then for 2CW, I believe the only thing we've announced so far is the return of Eddie Edwards, who was
yes.
obviously a gigantic part of 2CW the entire time for a
Davey
decade. So
Richards to come back too, right?
I don't think that's gonna happen. That's that's a touchy subject.
Yeah,
There's
I'm guessing.
yeah, there's some touchy subjects out there that it was a big part of a conversation last night. The
Interesting.
the booking committee, we'll say.
All right. Cool. Well, that's exciting. That's coming up in the next month being
Yeah,
November.
that's crazy because I mean, even like GCW returns to Rochester, and all this time I'm like, oh, that'll be fun, but that's not till October 24th, whatever. Now we're less than 3 weeks away from a show that is on October 24th. So that's crazy to me because that felt like it was months and months away still. But that'll be here very soon. Water Street on Friday. Yeah, 3 weeks from yesterday. So
Wow. 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 Yeah.
Shotzi Blackheart's House of Horrors
Oh yeah.
presented by GCW. So
Oh, means we get Matt Cardona too. Probably, maybe,
I
possibly.
don't think so. Um, yeah, I there is a list. There aren't I don't think there's any matches actually announced yet, but there is a list of people confirmed for that show. I don't think he's on it though.
Okay, cool. Well, as we get closer, obviously we'll talk more about it. This week, do want to talk about a few things. I just kind of have like a rough outline where we want to go today and what I want to do. Well, let's talk about AEW's 6th anniversary at some point. Crown Jewel Perth is next Saturday. In fact, if we are on at 10 o'clock next Saturday, it'll probably be deep into it at that point. Um, Andrade makes an appearance. Saints wins a title, and ice commercials in the middle of AEW programming multiple times. So let's start off first with what Ricky Saints wins the NXT Championship from Oba Femi this past week. They had a pay-per-view on last Saturday night, and shocked a little bit because Oba Femi was so dominant as a champion, but does this once again show up as a, hey, AEW, you screwed up with this guy because look at what we did. We put the championship on him. I mean, they've done that now twice with Ethan Page and now Ricky Saints. I'm happy for Ricky Saints. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely quality, but it's almost like they're showing you, look what you had, and you couldn't even do this with him, and look what we're doing. And I don't think he's doing anything different than he was doing in AEW. So, any thoughts on Ricky Saints winning the NXT Championship, Rob?
Obviously Ricky's somebody that I know going back to the Texas indie scene, and I'm happy for him at him, achieving this success. I didn't see any of it or anything. But it's the whole, there's such the tribalism out there with this guy fumbled, whatever. Like Ricky Starks was an AEW tag team champion, an Owen Hart Cup winner in major feuds, a TNT champion, or no, whatever, the FTW belt, forget it. But like,
Yeah.
he had a lot of success. Like if you look at like title history and stuff in those times, like there were some injury situations and things, whatever, but like I don't think he was booked poorly there. Obviously he chose to go over to WWE, and for him it seems to be working out well. So good for him on that. I don't know if I don't think he would have achieved AEW World Champion status. So I mean, good for him to be somewhere where he can wear that belt, but I don't know. I just that he's one of the biggest ones. People are just like, oh, Tony Khan fumbled. No, he didn't. Tony Khan put a bunch of belts on him.
Yeah.
Like he
I don't
there's only
think
so much you can do in some of those situations.
I don't think he fumbled Ethan Page either. Ethan Page,
I
He
don't think
kind of
so
fumbled
either.
Ethan
but
Page. More,
but maybe a little more
so than Ricky.
Yes.
Okay, you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was a fumble either there. I really don't. And I mean, some people, I don't want to say that because Ethan's in that same category as somebody that, obviously worked a ton of ESW and stuff too. And I really like Ethan, but like he also probably was never going to be AEW World Champion either. Like it is what it is. And I think we see a lot of this back and forth between companies, maybe a little less overall these days than we did years ago, but still obviously some prominent ones. And I think that's fine because I don't think any of these companies can find stuff for talented wrestlers to consistently do for 5-year stints and stuff. Like it's very difficult. So sometimes a change of scenery is best for all parties involved. And I think that was the case, with people like Ricky. So
I agree, and I think, and you know what? I mean, and I'm sure. I mean, Cody's his dude too. So he followed Cody over there. I mean, not technically, but he. A lot of people say that you can build a wrestler to a certain point, but WWE has to fine tune some of them. They haven't really done a great job with Jade Cargill.
yeah, that's
you but you guys weren't here last week when I talked about the mess up on SmackDown last week. But I'm sure you saw it. I'm sure you've seen it since.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we talked a little bit about it, I think, in our little chat message. But I mean, that's when I begin to believe, okay, Jade Cargill was doing just about as well in AEW as Jade Cargill's doing in WWE, except for WWE like limits Jade Cargill, what Jade can do in the ring and stuff, trying to do power moves all the time and stuff instead of actually doing like chain wrestling. Cause I don't think I've ever seen any sort of chain wrestling from Jade Cargill since she's been there. But
It's better in AEW.
Yeah, I think she was getting better. That's for sure. I know that Cody had something to do with her training or Dustin as well.
Danielson
and Daniel. Yeah. Before she left. So I know that they all like had Danielson has like a hand in, sorry, I'm watching the replay last night of the Dynamite last week, and I'm watching Marina Shafir go feet first into the tax just a second ago. It just happened, and it was like, ouch.
yeah.
That did not tickle. But yeah, so I'm just saying that it's like, I mean, I'm happy for Ricky Starks, Saints, whatever they call him. I think he hasn't changed character one bit since he came there. He's always like trying to do that. He reminds me a lot of JC Money. I don't know why, but it's like, he kind of has that, that arrogant, character, that, I deserve this and I'm going to get it, and
Can we have a discussion though on, is it the same leaving AEW to go to quote unquote WWE and your success is limited to NXT?
Yeah, it's
6 years ago, that would have been huge.
yeah.
But today, I
Yeah.
don't feel like it has the same weight.
No, and I mean a lot of the people that constantly take digs at AEW love to say all this about all these different things about NXT that are supposedly better and stuff, but like NXT is also a developmental that's in a warehouse and stuff too. So like if you're going to hate on AEW's attendance, like NXT is probably not the best example to compare it to, but I digress.
Go on mute on us, Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, hold on. My board had some sort of problems here for a second, so sorry about that. Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting because and I'll go right to the next thing I was going to talk about. We had the 6th anniversary of AEW this past week, and who comes back but Andrade? And
First double back and forth.
yeah, first appearance with WWE was at the Royal Rumble this past year, coming back there, and now making it back 6 months later or whatever, 9 months later to back to AEW. Lots of mysteries about why the release from WWE. I'm guessing maybe his marital situation may have had something to do with it as well, but AEW this past week, the 6th anniversary, fun show, lots of people showing up, lots of clips showed up on the screen from the past. Even that guy named Phil, who used to be there, I saw briefly in a clip with Sting. But what did you guys think of Andrade showing up? Bouncing to, I think 2 weeks ago, we talked about it. It's like, well, he kind of worked his way out of everywhere, but I knew that he had left AEW in good terms, even though he had some issues, like maybe Sammy Guevara there for at one point as well, and some other people. But now back and obviously aligning himself with Don Callis. But being this is 2 weeks ago, the guy was released, so it was like obviously there was no he didn't have to wait out contract or anything. It sounds like he was outright fired, and it's like. I thought that is interesting, but I was a surprise. I mean, as soon as I saw the mask, it's like it's obvious who it was. People kind of exploded because Kenny Omega also has been in and out the last few weeks too, and Kenny Omega coming out and wrestling and talking about being the 6th anniversary and talking about starting the company and everything. I thought, what'd you think first of all of Rob of Andrade showing up?
I'm not crazy about it. I don't know. It's like there's very mixed reports on like when he departed AEW about like it sounded like Tony was maybe a little nicer about it than he had to be with things. Andrade is an incredible wrestler, but the fact is that AEW already has a lot of really good wrestlers that are never given matches, that are under contract, that are on the roster page. We're in an era where we are lucky that there are so many just insanely talented wrestlers, whether they are with WWE, AEW, TNA, on the indies, whatever, that it's harder for people to stand out or be like, oh, you really need this person, because there's probably somebody else who can do it. And it kind of sucks that that's the case, but it's also like we're really lucky, like I said, that we have that much talent in the wrestling world these days. Andrade is a great worker, but I don't think it's worth it. Hopefully things have changed, but from everything that went down during his first AEW run, that was also in the time period where a lot of people were talking about backstage issues in that company, and certainly not just him. There was a lot of stuff that went on with different people. There was stuff obviously with him and Sammy and Eddie and MJF and Britt. And I mean, the list goes on. There was so much stuff going on, and all the stuff with Punk and everybody. But things have seemed in the last year and a half to really improve. It's gotten back to like the earlier days of AEW, with a locker room that feels like a team from all accounts, and people that are working together and supporting each other, and not bickering backstage and not punching their coworkers in the mouth and then walking away and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, like it's not just about him, but obviously I am a team Sammy person. Always have been, always will be. And with that, like I'd rather see him in matches than Andrade. But here we go again. I don't know. I don't know what else he's going to bring to the table this time around. Like the surprise appearance from that aspect is cool, because it was a shocker to a lot of people. I also clearly haven't seen anything he's done in a while, because saw the guy standing in the ring and saw the really long hair, and that didn't make me think Andrade, but I don't know how long that's been the case. But I don't know. Hopefully he's better behaved this time around, because he is a great worker.
I think that he realizes that this might be his last chance.
I mean, how many chances does somebody get when there's that much talent out there these days? I don't see WWE giving him another chance at this point. So I think you're right about that. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. We were saying a couple of weeks ago. I felt that he didn't even have a AEW to go back to.
yeah.
Now I've read some rumors that one of the reasons he was brought back is because, one, he's very popular in Mexico, and they're still trying to reach out to the Mexican crowd, obviously with the AAA, and I think that they think that he's well enough and known that they bring him back, that he will, he'll help them with their, getting into the markets down there and stuff. And that could be true. It's also what WWE did too, because they brought him in and immediately forgot about the mass wrestler dude that they were pushing heavily as soon as he came into WWE. Dragon, what was his name?
Dragon Lee?
Yeah, Dragon Lee. Yeah. Dragon Lee kind of got pushed aside when Andrade got signed. All of a sudden, Andrade was the Mexican figure that they wanted to put out there, not Dragon Lee. And now that he's gone, Dragon Lee's back on TV and a bunch of stuff. So I think that that's what I've read. I don't know if that's true or not. I guess we could always ask the business director, because I mean, I don't know if I would ask him that though, but it's interesting that, I mean, he's going to come, he's going to be good. And unfortunately they immediately heel him off with Don Callis, and Don Callis has got half the roster with him now. Apparently, if you saw that shot last on Dynamite with the 15 guys behind him or whatever, someone's going to get lost in the mix. Oh, and also the clone of Hologram, I believe I heard them say multiple times. Which
that was kind of dumb. And by kind of, I mean very.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy
you don't
there.
do that after you bring back Andrade.
Well, yeah, and then he's just standing on the stage, and like he takes like the mask and stuff off, and I was like, okay, well, so are we supposed to at some point then believe that he is hologram if he's already taken the mask? Like, what are we? I mean, I guess he had the other mask, but like, I mean, yeah, the reality of the situation, or whatever. I mean, we're in 2025, but like when Clone takes off his, I don't even remember what it was, a shirt or something like that. Like
it was like a little shoulder pad.
It was the hologram get up.
Yeah. His tattoos are very recognizable to Mexican wrestling fans and people who were at ESW in July, who saw Arez in a fantastic match against Von Vertigo. Like there's no hiding who he is. Like, it's not like the Underfaker with like being covered up Saudi Arabia style, like all the way, like in having no visible tattoos and stuff. Like, it's Arez. It's like, but like, great wrestler. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that side of things, but yeah, I kind of thought they'd maybe go a different route with the real hologram being injured, and I mean maybe just doing a Sin Cara thing or whatever. Just have like the clone B hologram for a while until the real hologram is healthy, and then you do your Ted DiBiase whatever
Well, then you
purple versus gray.
find out it's Chad Gable, and then it's like then it's
Oh
really
boy,
surprise everybody.
yeah, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. So let's since we're talking about, let's delve into the 6th anniversary. Thoughts on the show? I mean, besides, I loved the flashback shots and everything. I did, obviously Kenny Omega coming out and wrestling in the first match, which led to a bunch of things we mentioned to Andrade, but also Jack Perry coming out with Luchasaurus to the old Jungle Boy theme. I was waiting for Taz to start singing it. He did not. What'd you think of the anniversary? Obviously, it ran over a bit. It
Well,
was,
they announced it as 2.5 hours.
yeah,
went
it
to, I
definitely,
mean,
yeah. But it was a good show. I mean, it was, I thought I enjoyed it. It was nice to see a bunch of things actually happening, and they really don't have another show until Wrestle Dream. And when's that? Like next month? Is it end of this month?
no, it's 2 weeks from today.
Wow,
Actually,
that's a
that
quick
soon.
turnaround.
Yeah,
Then. So what do you
yeah.
think, Rob? What did you think of them? Highlighting things like we got to see we got to see Sammy Guevara getting thrown off the top of the cage by Eddie Kingston again. Some of the highlights of the company. It was pretty cool.
I mean, I liked that the highlight package ended with Brody, in there. That was a nice touch in there. I think it was a really good show. Matches were great. Really good women's main event. I wasn't a big fan of that crowd and them doing the what chants at Tony Storm and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
what are we
that was
doing
irritating.
here? Like, that to me was just frustrating. Um,
Maybe it's because you could get beverage service at your seat.
I was gonna say it looked like a
or it's
concert
Florida. I don't
venue.
know.
It looked like a concert venue because you could see like the
Yeah.
stage was where the stage for a concert would be, and there was nothing behind it. And
Yeah, it's like a 4,000 seat concert venue,
yeah,
down in like the Fort Lauderdale area. That I mean, it was a good show. I mean, I'm gonna continue to say that like right now in AEW, maybe it's a little bit of the booking, maybe it's a little bit of who is hurt and stuff. Like I kind of feel like some things are stale right now. I feel like there's a lot of the same people wrestling every single night. Where at least before when I complained about that, it'd be like the same people every Collision or every Dynamite. Now it's both, which has helped Collision in terms of like name power and stuff. But it's a lot of it's just kind of, I don't know. Floundering is not the word. It's not bad, but it's just there's not a ton right now that I really stands out to me compared to like other little periods of time earlier this year and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, there's still like there's nothing for Wrestle Dream yet that I feel like I'm excited about because it also feels like it's naturally going to be this way. But like we talked going into the last pay-per-view and All Out about like Kyle Fletcher's not going to beat Hangman for the title. We know like Samoa Joe's not going to beat Hangman for the title. Like it doesn't take a genius to predict some of this stuff, but
oh,
um
you got Chris Statlander winning the women's title at All Out, so that
and that yes, I'm happy about that. That is one of the shining spots right now in AEW.
I'll give her credit too. This past week, when she tagged with when she had the tag match at the end, she had she had Starfire, who was a DC comic superhero. That was her pretty much her tights, and it looked really cool. It was really pretty cool that because DC and obviously AEW are doing something soon. I think next weekend. So, but when her and Darby Allin wrestled there at the end, I thought it was I like Statlander's champ. I kind of like. I'm glad that it's a one-on-one now between them because I think the only way you could get the belt off of Tony was to have it a four-way and have her not involved in it at all.
Well, no, but she was the one that got pinned, which is
Oh,
which was that I loved about that pay-per-view. Like that was a was well, that was yeah, we didn't I wasn't here last week. Yeah,
no,
that
no.
like that was one of the because always talking about predictable booking and ways to get titles. I loved that Tony got pinned for it. And she had a shocked look on her face and stuff like that. And I think Statlander is, Statlander's been there since day one. Obviously she had the TBS title, but she's been, in my mind, long overdue for the women's world title, and really happy to see her with that title. And Tony is a made star at this point. She's had that belt 4 times. Like, she doesn't need it. So I think that was perfect, and that was really refreshing to have a situation like that where you couldn't fully predict that was going to happen. So.
I loved it that the pay-per-view All Out, it got very good grades, and then WrestlePalooza failed coming out of it, for WWE, and to the point where an ESPN columnist gave it a C+, which apparently pissed everybody off everywhere there.
Well, there's a lot of people at
It hurts.
ESPN that don't really understand like corporate synergy and things like that. Sometimes you kind of have to play by the rules, and sometimes you have to promote your own stuff, even if it's not really as good as you would say it is to viewers and stuff like that. That's the nature of a lot in media and sports and things like that. It just makes me think of a couple days ago with one of the, I want to say it was one of the Cubs games on ESPN, where the play-by-play guy's talking about like, oh, this Tuesday NHL starts, we've got a triple header on ESPN, and then the color commentator and like the on-field analyst or whatever are both just like, I'm not watching. It's October, it's baseball, like whatever. Like they just like went on and on with comments about like hating on hockey and stuff. It's like, this is on your network. These are the people that write your paycheck. Like, are you stupid?
Oh, get
Like,
this. Those were the last games ESPN's going to be broadcasting, because their contract's done with ESPN for baseball. So a lot of people are like saying, thank God, that because they do such a half-butt job with baseball, that they're done with it finally. So yeah.
I mean, all those years they didn't have hockey. Like, it was absolutely pathetic to consider like, oh, we're the sports leader, and they never talked about hockey and stuff. Now they have the contract, and I could talk all day about what they do with their broadcasts and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, you're letting these people on air say like, no, I'm not watching. No, I'm not, like, whatever. Like, literally just like, it's almost like they're laughing it off. It's like, are you stupid?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's a lesson in radio. Do not talk down about anything. Just lie if you have to. Say, "Oh yeah, I'm excited about it," because we do it all the
that's the
time.
nature of all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
That's every aspect of every job I've had. Yeah, I mean, like, you're putting things over. You're putting things over on the station you work for, or players on the team that you work for, or wrestlers on the show that are like, it's all about putting things over, and you're just gonna just hate on your own product. Like, it's a triple header on ESPN that starts the season or whatever. Like, if you don't have anything nice to say, like, just shut up. Just let the play-by-play guy plug it, and then go back to talking about baseball. Stupid idiot. Sorry.
No, I agree 100%. I know exactly what you're talking about, because I'm sitting there going,
it was the most arrogant thing
Yeah.
I've heard from those two. Like, especially, I don't know who the two were, but like the guy initially was like starting to go on that path, and then the woman that was like down at field level like took the ball and ran with it with the comments. I was just like, wow. Like, because the whole, like, I don't watch a lot of baseball on ESPN, but I thought like her analysis throughout the game was really, really good, and then she makes those comments about hockey, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not even listening to their broadcast anymore.
Yeah, seriously. And it's like, and I know, as obviously working in the media, and you as well, when you hear someone disparage something that they're on their own network, you immediately like start to cringe, because someone's going to get yelled at when when the mics are off and the camera's done. Someone's going to talk to them about that, because but a lot of times they'll hire people who were like, they would have, they played the whole season, they were athletes, they bring them in, and sometimes you never know what's going to come out of their mouths too. But that obviously the woman was a field reporter for all their Sunday night games and stuff. So,
and imagine like it's like, I mean, obviously that's a big deal going into like opening night for the NHL and a triple header and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but like, you signed this huge freaking contract with WWE. It's their first show. They're billing it as like the biggest, greatest show of all time, blah, 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 and stuff. And then like immediately, like the amount of notifications on my phone I got from the ESPN app about WrestlePalooza and all this stuff. It was everywhere. It was being advertised on everything. The amount of like games I'm watching, and I got to hear Triple H's stupid voice over and over and over again, putting himself over, and then also kind of mentioning WrestlePalooza. Like all of this stuff, it's your first show with that, and you're letting some dude like go on like, oh, this show sucked.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah,
C
it did
plus.
suck from all accounts. I didn't watch it, luckily, but like,
The guy defended himself. He said C plus is passing. It's like
sounds like
me in high school. Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
C plus is average, and that's what WW is at best.
Yeah, at best. After hearing the way the Brock match went too, like, I'm so glad I didn't see a second of that.
An 8-minute, and then they kind of crossed over with All Out, because All Out was finishing up when they started, so it was like yeah, and it was terrible.
Yeah, there was still like a good 45 minutes or so of All Out.
Yeah, so yeah, it was. I did not see. I watched it back on the replay, and it was like, you know, there's nothing that stood out for me. The women's match was good, and that was right in the middle, and I guess that was good. But beyond that, you know,
But it was the dawning of a new era, and there was going to be tons of surprises. And
yeah,
Pat McAfee was a surprise.
So many surprises.
For about two matches, and then he disappeared. He was like, he came down and called
Stephanie getting put into the Hall of Fame.
I was
the first person you announced.
Yeah, after the Undertaker comes down on the motorcycle, I was a little no.
Here's the greatest women's wrestler of all time skipping around the ring in her big return.
That a lot of people
not able to keep up with Becky Lynch or anybody else.
A lot of people had problems with the way that she's portrayed herself up until coming out to do her match, that she just immediately fell back into the same character from 20 years ago, who would skip to the ring and, you know, do that same stuff when then she was being real when she came out to defend her husband, you know, and it was like,
I did like her breaking out the Bart Simpson windmill attack. I
didn't see that, but okay.
Yeah. If you get in the way, you're going to get.
Oh, yeah. No, I did see that clip. Yeah. She was nowhere close. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're at a point where like, there's a lot of revisionist history with, especially with the WWE women's division from about 2008 to 2015, that we're pretending that some of the top stars from that era could hang with the WWE women's division of 2015 to present, and they can't.
No.
Beth
Nikki
Phoenix
Bella
could, a few people could. Michelle McCool could not.
No, Nikki Bella couldn't. Yeah.
No, exactly.
She's taking credit for the women's revolution.
Nikki Bella couldn't hang back then.
She's taking credit for the women's revolution when she came out on the mic. I know that it's someone else something wrote, but to have her come out and say, you know, and got the crowd going. We were the ones who did the women's revolution and everything.
No.
It was like,
gets no credit of it. In my mind, there's three things you get credit for.
You were the reason a revolution was needed.
Yeah, you were the reason.
Exactly.
You threatened to quit unless you were put on TV, and they did, and they bowed and put you on, and then you know, believe me, that's.
I mean, you had people like Beth who like could have used some actual competition in that time, but the women's revolution to me is a 3-part in terms of giving credit out for it. One that never gets credit is Shimmer, because all of these women came through Shimmer under Dave Prazak and worked just incredible matches. It changed everything. And all of the top stars came through there, whether you want to talk about Bayley or Becky Lynch, or like the list goes on and on and on. Like that was a huge, huge deal. Second part, TNA Knockouts division, around that like 2009 time period or whatever and stuff. Like they got a huge focus. They brought in really talented wrestlers. They had great matches. They got TV time, all that kind of stuff. And then like to put it all together, we're like the 4 horsewomen of NXT at that point. And
Mercedes, you know, is involved in that as well. You know,
Absolutely.
You know, I think, that's, you know, obviously Bayley.
That's why, I mean, like I went back and watched on the anniversary, like recently, the Bayley Sasha Banks match from NXT Brooklyn Takeover, like one of the best matches of all time right there. That's a big part of it. It's not, name your favorite Alicia Fox match. You know, like Alicia Vox and Nikki Bella against AJ Lee. No, Oksana maybe.
Yeah. So,
Give me a
well,
break.
I mean, obviously she signed a contract, so that will be just her first match back at WrestlePalooza. We have not seen her since though, but that, to continue on, yeah, we kind of delved off on the women's division just because you're right. And you know what? When the knockouts were the hottest thing in TNA, they were the main event every week too. So
It was a huge day. That time period, TNA was doing so much more with the women's division than WWE had ever even thought about doing. That deserves a ton of credit in all of that, and kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
I think Mickey James deserves some credit
Yeah.
too. She was involved in a lot. She bridged the Trish Stratus into the the new era of women's wrestling, and had to suffer through the divas. So,
Yeah.
Mickey Jane, and she's obviously going to the TNA Hall of Fame. So, I want to mention another thing. Okay, we're talking about the AEW 6-year anniversary. We did mention Jack Perry and Luchasaurus. Jack Perry shows up at All Out. You guys weren't here last week to talk about it. Comes in, confronts obviously the Young Bucks there as well, and obviously the Young Bucks lost all their money. If you saw the beginning of the show this past week, what did you think of Jack Perry being back now, coming out to the stupid Jungle Boy music, and but then having Luchasaurus kind of back him up? I was reading an interview with him that he said that was the hardest thing to convince anybody to let him do in the company. He was to have Luchasaurus realign with him, but I mean, the crowd went for it, that's for sure. What did you think, DC?
I mean, I predicted it and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I like that he hasn't fully gone back to the Jungle Boy Jack Perry thing. I like him kind of keeping his new image, new look. I'm optimistic though, because I see it as AEW refocusing on building back the tag team division with some actual teams as opposed to throwing people together. Not that Brodito isn't fun to watch, but they're not a real tag team.
Well,
So
they're very entertaining, but I mean I agree with you on that, and I think a big part of that is like for a tag team to be taken seriously and stuff, especially when it's two guys thrown together, they need legitimate competition. They need actual tag teams to feud with and have long-term storytelling with, and have different options out there. And I agree that I think there's a lot more focus on the men's tag side of things right now. There's really good teams, and I'm hopeful that can kind of get that division back to where it once was. I'm not the biggest Jurassic Express fan, but I mean the reaction from the crowd was all you needed. I mean, I'm not gonna like everything. That's totally fine. Like I think it was probably still a smart decision, and I totally agree with the let Jack Perry continue to be Jack Perry in that. I would prefer not to hear the Jungle Boy name at all again. They can use the music and stuff, whatever. But it is something a little bit different. And I don't know. There's always that nostalgia aspect. I don't know, where they're going with like the Acclaimed and stuff too. Like some of the stuff is not as needed as some of the other, but I think that yeah, I mean, you called it that morning, and man, like those. If you go back and listen to our predictions that morning, I mean, they're dead on for almost everything, except for maybe that women's title match. So,
I beg to differ.
Okay.
I called that one.
I know at some point I had switched on that one as well, but like I think a lot of it was just like it was another really good pay-per-view, but it's I don't know. It's not on like as we go on, like now we're more than 6 years into this AEW thing, like the pay-per-views all time that stand out in my mind that I'm most likely to go back and watch stuff from or whatever. Like it's not on that list. Like I don't I thought I really enjoyed watching the show. I don't regret not going to Toronto to see it.
Well, you would have caught Dalton Castle coming out and reappearing.
Is that on the paper? No,
No.
no, because they played the vignette weeks ago, and
Sorry,
then
that was
he
Collision.
reappeared on Collision.
It was Collision. Yeah.
in West
Side note,
Virginia.
that is another partnership I am 100% here for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Dalton Castle. Yeah.
So it's a long time coming with that one. So I'm very pleased about that for sure.
Yeah, I forgot that was yeah, they taped it in West Virginia and they played it that morning, right? Or that before the or when
That
did
was a lot. The West Virginia show was live, but they had done they had filmed a vignette a long time ago that finally aired like 3 weeks ago or something.
yeah.
And then there was nothing. And that like that's been happening a lot in AEW too recently, where there's something that gets teased or whatever, and then like nothing happens, or this person doesn't appear for weeks on end or whatever. Like I was just thinking about that this morning. Like what Scorpio Sky? Remember when he just came back again?
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah.
Skyflight, which apparently they had a match. It might be Collision tonight. It was taped on Thursday. Where like the graphic for the match like shows Top Flight and shows Layla with them and shows Christopher Daniels with them, but like Scorpio Sky's not even in the graphic. Like what? I
And Layla
thought he was
Hirsch has
supposed to be
been gone
teaming with
how
these guys. I
long
thought
now?
this was a new trio. Like what's going on here?
Huh, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I feel like
Uh,
a lot of that kind of stuff happens with something is like Ace Austin debuts and then
yeah, and then
crickets for weeks
yeah.
and then pops back up now with the Bang Bang Gang. But
Well, they need another gun to fill in until the other gun comes back or something like that. So, you know, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, they kind of they pick up and drop things, unfortunately. But so, yeah, unfortunately, the overrun and everything this past week for the sixth anniversary didn't do gangbusters in ratings. I'm not sure why, but we still don't see the max numbers, and I'm sure they're good because if they were bad, we would know. So but it was a good show to, I mean, set up obviously Tony Storm, Statlander for the Russell Dream as well. Russell Dream is the one that takes place in up in the northwest, is it? I mean, remember last year they had it.
No, it's happening
yeah,
in
it's
St.
St.
Louis,
Louis this
Oh,
Schaefer
year.
St.
area.
Louis. I remember last year it was up in. I remember because it was like
It's up in Tacoma.
Yeah, Swerve Strickland's area, and Swerve's been out for a while now. Maybe we'll get a Swerve Strickland reappearance, but I'm kind of looking forward to Joe and Hangman. That ought to be pretty good too. They did promote on this week's Dynamite that next week's Dynamite 1 starts at 7 o'clock and 2 is on Tuesday. So it's going to go head to head with NXT's invasion crap that's been going on.
And Collision's 7 o'clock tonight as well.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is
Or maybe it's 8 o'clock on Tuesday. I can't remember. I know I put it in the
no,
note.
I think it's 7.
Is
I
it
think
7?
you're right
Yeah.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they, it's because it's Major League Baseball playoffs, obviously, and Wednesday there'll be some going on, and we'll preempt them. But I have hope for it's interesting. You said that you feel like they're in a creative lull right now in AEW, but it's funny as I saw last night, Monday Night Raw, is I saw a shot from the crowd where half the arena was empty. So I don't think it maybe wrestling in general is kind of going into a little bit of a swoon because WWE's charging too much prices for their events. And
Oh, you don't want to pay $11,500 to sit front row at John Cena's last match?
I do
Absolutely
not.
crazy.
I do not.
Well,
I can watch it on
and
TV
I mean,
for
in
free.
fairness to all the companies and stuff too, I mean, this is the time of the year where like obviously we're into baseball playoffs. NFL just came back. NHL starts on Tuesday. You just had all the season premieres of like the network sitcoms and everything and stuff like this. This time period right here is always really tricky to draw attention with everything else going on. That like hopefully in the coming weeks, like they'll be able to kind of build things back up as well. But yeah, for me, it is a little just like I don't care about Darby and Moxley again. And Hangman and Joe, I'm sure is going to be a great match. It's just one of those ones where I'm not going to be excited about it going into it, but I'm going to love it when I watch it. I already know that's the case.
Yeah, and it's I mean,
The thing is, even if AEW is in a creative rut, the wrestling is still good, which is what I tune in for.
Yeah, and
Which
honestly,
I
don't think
I can't say about the other place.
I don't think most fans would say that it's in a creative lull. That's just me being like pessimistic or whatever and stuff, like kind of just wanting like some kind of fresh stuff with the rest of the roster and stuff. Like you have all these people and stuff like there's just some feuds and stuff that I'm over at this point. And again, it's the same people every single show.
I like the tease of what was it on? It was during an interview last week with, hold on. I'm having a brain fart right now, but it's a setup for Takeshita to take on what's his teammate's name?
Okada.
No, Okada. Yeah, you see like the evil eyes they were giving each other during that promo with Don Callis this past week. See, I'm excited about things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I will say that another thing too is
The Don Callis family / NWO.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
one
only
point,
12 people. You know,
I guess you can still use the family name even if it gets to be like 100 people, but it is kind
It's the
of
Duggars.
it is a create, but honestly, like that part doesn't really bother me too much. One, because I think Don Callis is really effective in his role. But it's also just kind of different than what we've seen in the last 25 years or whatever. They're gonna have to find ways to keep everybody relevant within that, but obviously they'll get to do some of the in-house fighting and stuff. And I don't know. For me, it kind of works at this point. I don't know if that'll be a long-term thing, but I don't mind it right now.
yeah, you know, me neither. And it's like you know, I kind of like these. It kind of explains why some people don't stick around AEW because they keep bringing in these quality wrestlers and these guys like Okada, Takeshita, all these big names, and it's like, you know, and so sometimes you have to lose the guys who are like maybe on their way up, kind of like Ricky Saints or Ricky Starks, you know, because you know there's no room for him to develop on TV when you've got these big stars that barely wrestle as it is, to be honest with you, you know. So I mean, that's why I always like, I don't have a problem when people leave go between companies and leave. It's just because there's no room for them and someone else has room for them. So NXT,
Compared to other companies and stuff, the one thing I would say is that the Don Callis family works for me because they don't all use the same theme music. That was something that killed it with the NWO stuff and with like some, I mean, even some like indie factions and stuff. It's just like you're hearing the same thing over and over again, and then it just becomes like exhausting. Like here we go again, here we go again. Like at least it's different. Everybody can kind of have their own individual identity within that family.
Except for the Don Callis brown noise.
Which that works so well. Yeah.
I will say Don Callis is kind of like he's the AEW's version of Paul Heyman. You know, he's because he's as prominent as the wrestlers he's with at times, and Paul Heyman obviously, you know,
He's great at getting his guys heat. Yeah, just the same way. I mean,
you know, I think I see a lot of similarities between them. You know, I think obviously Paul Heyman, obviously supposedly is a genius in the world of booking, but I don't know how much he truly books anymore, more than just being a character nowadays. I'm sure some, but it's interesting that, and I enjoy Don Callis. I've always enjoyed. I love his heel commentary when he gets to do it. You know, I mean, but he also, even though he does heel commentary, he also gives it up for the faces when they like do something that's amazing. You know, he doesn't just
yes.
poop
Yeah.
on everything all the time. You know, he will give it up for them. So I think that's one good thing about when he's on the microphone. And he should be on more often as well. But it seemed like kind of surprised when Andrade showed up and he was on the mic, you know, and it's like, oh, surprise, who's that? You know, it's like that immediately he aligns with them. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I think in AEW, we find little bits and pieces of things you like. You know, it's like now obviously Harley Cameron's back with Monet doing the Monet puppet or whatever what they call the Monet puppet.
Mini
Mini
Monet.
Monet.
Mini Monet, yeah. So the Mini Monet, which you know,
So good.
they was good, and then they stopped it for a while, and I think that it's good they go back to it because I think Harley Cameron's really talented as well. You know,
I mean, I don't know if it was like, I mean, obviously, like Harley wants to team with Mercedes as part of this women's tag team thing, but like, I mean, it might have just been like kind of a Dynamite anniversary throwback thing. I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing anymore, but I'm all about, the puppet popping up randomly from time to time, unexpected. That's
did you see the Finn Balor puppet pop up when he was wrestling? Who's the
Mr. Iguana.
Mr. Iguana? He like disappeared over the edge of the ring, and all of a sudden you see the puppet of the
Demonito.
demon. Yeah, the demon pop up. It's like you tell me they aren't borrowing this stuff from Harley Cameron. You know, it's like a little bit maybe. Maybe Mr. Iguana did it first. I don't know how long he's been around, but obviously Santino Marella, did it long time ago. Which is another thing that is surprising this past week. It kind of popped up was we got to see Mustafa Ali on a WWE TV show cutting a promo against an NXT wrestler, which Mustafa Ali was the one who was supposed to win a bunch of things, and then he got hurt, and so then they gave it to Kofi Kingston. He was supposed to win the title in WWE a long time ago, and then he kind of felt that
Like the North American or something.
No, he was supposed to win the W.
I don't think he was ever going to win it. I think he was going to be in a position, but
Okay.
I would have been floored if they would have given it to him.
Well, I thought that he was supposed to get it because then they gave it to Kofi right after that. Kofi filled in for him. So in the Kofi, but Kofi also dropped it in 8 seconds or whatever at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar. So, but I think that, but he hadn't been on obviously WWE TV in a very long time, and he was this past week challenging Ethan Page, who is the NXT North American. I don't know. They have a bunch of titles there now too. I get
Way
lost
too many
in it.
titles in wrestling,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
happy about the AEW Women's World Tag Team titles.
Definitely. I think that was a big announcement, that was a big announcement, a couple weeks ago. So
I kind of wish there had been a little bit more either then or since then of even if it's oh, we're going to have a tournament 3 months from now or something, whatever, just tell us what's happening with that other than just showing the belts. But
true. So,
but they are obviously in this status right now of trying to further establish some actual tag teams on the women's side and stuff to get ready for that. But that's long overdue. I'm looking forward to a women's tag division that is booked properly.
So one thing I want to talk to before I hit the news is ICE has been buying recruiting advertisements on AEW Dynamite. This week there was a few of them. And
Every break.
Yeah. And Hangman Page, champion of AEW, came out and said, you should complain to all these people that pretty much run, our Warner Brothers Discovery. He gave him links and stuff to complain about that and everything. And he didn't have anything nice to say about it. And believe me, I didn't either watching him. So it's I just thought that, it was interesting that they're recruiting from AEW by running ads on their show, which was kind of surprising. I mean, WWE gets some, Christian commercials on it and stuff every once in a while but this was kind of surprising that they're actually actively recruiting from wrestling fans. So, but obviously Hangman Page took that wrong, took it bad. And so I wonder if he's going to get any flack against him for speaking out against people who are paying for advertising on their programming.
That's my men's world champion.
There you go.
I did like the one comment I saw in line after that said, Hangman Adam Page is everything CM Punk claims to be.
Big time.
Bingo.
Yeah, big time.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, I don't think you're going to see Hangman Page rolling around a Riyadh logo in Saudi Arabia. And yeah.
$80. That's what we pray to. So I gotcha. Yeah. So good. I feel the same way. So let me get some news and then we'll get out of here. And I want to thank you everybody for chatting with us and everything. I did mention Andrade made his appearance. He appeared in the ring behind Omega in a badass ring entrance mask. Same mask I believe he was using in WWE when he'd stand on the top of the stage before taking it off. He laid out Omega. Don Callis joined him in the ring, and the two shook hands, revealing Andrade was part of the Don Callis family this past week. So that was something that stuck out. If you're going to watch Collision tonight, this is what you're going to see. You're going to get AEW champ, women's champ, Chris Statlander meet face-to-face with Tony Storm. Kevin Knight's going to be taking on either Dax Harwood or Cash Wheeler. We won't know until the match starts. I know it's taped. You may already know what happened. So Moxley, Garcia, and Claudio are taking on Jay Lethal, Adam Priest, and Tom Billington. Henchero, Rocky Romero, and Lance Archer are taking on Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly. Eddie Kingston versus Dralistico, and Sammy Guevara and Roosh are in action. That's tonight. Starts at 7 p.m. It was taped on Wednesday. And it's going to be simulcast on HBO Max as well. And they also gave us a tease for what's going to happen on Dynamite this week because they called it Title Tuesday. Mercedes Moné.
Is this like Battle of the Belts?
Yeah, the title. Yeah, we haven't won one of
Are
those.
we
at
going to
all.
get some title matches?
Don't say that. Mercedes Monet is going to hold an open challenge for the TBS title. We got AEW Tag Team Champions Bro Dito taking on Okada and Takeshita. The Demand, Ricochet, Leona, and Bishop Khan versus the Hurt Syndicate. They kind of teased that as well on Dynamite this past week. It's going to be taking place at Daly's Place. And it was bumped because to Tuesday because of the MLB playoffs. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And it's, do you say it's a 7 o'clock start?
Yeah.
For Dynamite. So it'll be good. It'll be, you'll be done by 9, SmackDown, to give them credit, they posted what they're going to be doing. They're actually taping their show from Perth, Western Australia for Friday SmackDown. And you're going to have Sami Zayn in an open challenge. You're going to Damian Priest versus Aleister Black, last man standing match. And the Street Profits are taking on the Wyatt Six for the WWE Tag Championship. So that's going on SmackDown on Friday night. Like I said, it'll be taped. It's interesting is the Perth show, the pre-show starts at 7 a.m. next Saturday, and the show starts, I believe, at 8 a.m. So we'll be 2 hours into the show, but I think by the time we start, running this show, so we'll have an idea what's going on. I know you guys won't be watching it, but I'll probably get up and watch it before.
Sorry, Cash, we're not going to be much help.
It's okay. It'll be going on still. So WWE, they had to do something this past week. They had named, they're having this TNA NXT crossover, and they called it Invasion. And they didn't really put any thought into the name Invasion. Obviously, they thought of the WCW WWE Invasion, which was an incredible poster with the morph. If you ever see the poster, I got one down in my basement of Shane McMahon's head and Vince McMahon's head put together, kind of morphed together. That's back when WCW did an invasion with ECW. But unfortunately, a lot of people tied that invasion to what's going on with, unfortunately, what's going on over in the Middle East. And so they got a lot of complaints. So they had to change it to Showdown for this big event. So they had to go back and get a trademark and all this stuff very last minute to create this Showdown poster and the name of the show and everything, instead of going with Invasion, because what's going on in the Middle East, it should not be taken lightly when it comes to entertainment here in the United States. And some people, it's just it's a terrible situation. And unfortunately, they didn't think too deep about it when they wanted to create this invasion, or it was. It's not really an invasion if you watch it too, because they all kind of stopped once they came in and just stood in the ring and posed off against each other. I didn't think it. I don't know. It's not. It's a lukewarm invasion. I mean, we haven't had a good invasion angle in many, many years, but this is very lukewarm compared to like some of the, like WWE invading WCW when they were outside their arenas causing trouble and stuff, and then obviously, like I said, the WCW invasion after Vince McMahon bought WCW, and then he tried to use it in an angle in which he killed WCW forever with that angle. So that caused him some problems this past week. I saw some news. AEW and DC Comics are joining forces for a groundbreaking comic book crossover that unites the two powerhouse universes in a bold new storytelling experience. It's they're launching a special preview edition that's going to be available in New York Comic Con, which is next weekend. That's it's pretty cool. I don't know if you saw any of the art from it, but man, they did a great job on all the wrestlers, and putting them along with Superman and all the other DC comic wrestlers, or DC comic superheroes. Sorry, I think it's pretty cool. I've got someone going down there next weekend for the Comic Con, so I'm gonna see if they can grab one if they see them. So. So some other news: AEW wrestler Chris Jericho officially hit his 35th year in the wrestling business. His very first match was October 2nd, 1990, and he was 19 then. And it's now he was doing a little bit of celebrating, even though he has nothing to do with wrestling right now. With his band being on the road and everything. I went and saw Judas Priest and Alice Cooper last weekend in Saratoga, and I know that Fozzy was opening up for him on a stretch of their concert tours. I was hoping he was opening up for him in Saratoga, but alas, no. There was some band called collisions of conformity or something like that, and they didn't know what day it was because they thanked everybody for coming out for Friday night when it was Saturday. So I didn't know if they were doing that intentionally to be funny, or doing like a little Spinal Tap moment, because Spinal Tap, the second movie, is out in theaters right now. So let's see some other things. Oh, we got Crown Jewel Perth. You might as well mention the lineup now because it's going to be over by the time we're on next week. But you've got Kabuki Warriors versus Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. You have AJ Styles versus John Cena. This is AJ and John Cena's probably final match, I'm guessing, because John's only got a couple more matches. Stephanie Vaquer versus Tiffany Stratton. You got Champ versus Champ for the Crown Jewel giant belt that they probably can hide behind because it's so gigantic. And you got Cody Rhodes.
Question: isn't that like property of Saudi Arabia and it's not allowed to leave Saudi Arabia?
That's a good question. I do not know. I've never seen it.
That's why they gave the winners last year rings.
Yeah, that's what they said. Is the belt's there, but they get rings. So, and you got Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins for the men's Crown Jewel champion. There's probably more matches added to that, but that's only 4 matches, and that's, like I said, it'll be over by this time a week from now. So, that's all the news I got. Not much more. Is there anything I'm missing out on that we should talk about? I'm trying to think what in the past week has happened. I mean,
I got the little bit of information on that GCW show pulled up just so people are aware. That's again Friday the 24th of October, Water Street, 8 p.m. We'll have it on Triller TV Plus live, but only general admission tickets remain. Everything else is sold out already for Shotzi Blackheart's House of Horrors presented by GCW, but the matches that we don't know who's in them yet, but it's listed as a spin the wheel, make the deal match, a lumberjacko lantern match, a scareway to hell ladder match, a casket match, a trick or treat street fight. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So far, Alec Price, Jordan Oliver, Cheech, Colin Delaney, Emerson Jane, international women's star, the world champ Effie, the ultraviolent champ Matt Tremont, Atticus Cogar. In my mind, maybe the top wrestler on the indies right now, Marcus Mathers, all announced so far for that show, with much more to come. One of the biggest weekends of the year for GCW is next weekend in Atlantic City, an annual thing. So once that happens and gets past that, then I'm sure we'll know a lot more for the Rochester show. But
oh, that's cool. I was gonna say, can you imagine a street fight or in Water Street? I mean,
the Water Street fight. I mean, I can, but can the New York State Athletic Commission mention?
Yeah, I could see them getting out to the bar area there and just we'll see. It's going to be an interesting Saturday. They also have the balcony there too, which could probably, once again come into play. It wouldn't surprise me.
It certainly has before, yeah.
Especially with a ladder match, who knows,
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So, how am I going to get the New York State Athletic Commission mad at 2CW this time? I had to think about that.
Yeah,
I don't think I can top last time. But
there you go. So are you obviously you're going to be working this show, right? GCW.
Yeah.
Very cool. We're looking forward to that. So we're going to get out of here. We'll talk to you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, and have a great week. And it is October.
And just like the Buffalo Bills said, let's go Blue Jays.
Yeah, I don't know why the Bills are doing that because it's
New
York's a Yankee state. But I do say
there's 3 teams closer to Buffalo in the majors than the Yankees.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't,
or even maybe 4 for the Mets. I don't know, but
yeah, I know. But does that matter? New York's New York. It doesn't matter. We're not going to argue about that. Good go, everybody! Yay! We'll see you next week, folks.